Do, 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 do. Good afternoon. You're listening to At the Table with yours, Kelly Lincoln. This show is produced, directed, and otherwise made possible by me, your host, netrootsradio.com, Spreaker.com, and you're listening to us live on Spreaker.com. I'm going to let you listen to our intro a little bit longer, so by then maybe I'll have my sync set up and I'll be able to play the excerpt from the table read I did the other night. Welcome. Hopefully by the time, there we go, it's all done. So maybe now it's still syncing. This is like, the fun thing about syncing to your, hang on a second, I've got to take the push to talk off. There we go. I'm hoping y'all can hear me now. I'm coming to you live on tape from Starbucks at East 87th Street and Lexington Avenue in New York City, as I always do on Saturdays when I am working. Yay! Let's start this off with some of the fun shit. Namely my week in review. This is my week in review. Yeah. It's been a good week. I got my tax refund back. I'm sure all of you have gotten your taxes done. I'm going to try and get this to, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. My week in review. It's been a good week. It's been a fun week. I got my tax refund back, and with that, we all know how we love talking about what we did with our tax refund. I actually bought myself a new bed. I mean, there's like other things I could have done with the refund, like pay my cable bill, but having a bed I can actually sleep on is far more important than the internet. I'm going to step back from my microphone a bit because it's like really freaking noisy here. You're hearing any background noise you're hearing is it's and we're clipping, and I've got to what's going on here? Okay. I'll be backing this off. So let's see what we're going on here. So that well maybe not. I'm playing around with my my mic here, so that's much better, much better. Going into the red, which meant I was clipping a bit, and I. Like the genius that I am, I left my headphones at home, so I can't actually hear myself through the headphones. So I'm relying on you, my good and loving people, till I get this done for me. But I know it's not happening. Yep. So it's always so much fun. Yeah, I did. So yeah, I was talking about my week in review, new bed. I got my tax refund. Gonna get my bicycle tuned up and a helmet so I can start riding that. So I will be even more fun than I am before. I know there's a lot of noise in the background. I want to apologize for that, but when you're in public, Also, the building that I work in, the air conditioner is out, so there's like 3 air conditioners here in this particular Starbucks, cooling the place off. The Best Buy I work at, they've got fans going. It's just really remarkable as to the insanity that is the building I work in New York City. You're either too cold upstairs or you're in a sauna downstairs, but that's the way it goes. So, what else can I talk about with me? Oh, yeah, there was a 3-alarm fire up the block for me yesterday. That was really, really so much fun. It took Notify New York up to the third alarm to let people know that there was a 3-alarm fire at 85th and Amsterdam. But at least they told us after the fact, while it was happening. I'm trying to... I did a table read yesterday. It was a really great script. Rumor has it it's been optioned. And felt really privileged to be able to read the role of the lawyer Gloria in this thing. It's called Searching for Justice, and it's based on a true story about a young lesbian woman who is raped by her study partner, and everything she went through to attempt to get an abortion in the state of Texas while Texas was shutting down access to clinics. Is a great script, and there we go. And now that we've done that, let me see if I can actually get my music, transfer my music to this. And it's not happening. So maybe I just need to... It's so much fun we were trying to get this... there we are. It's a great screenplay. I hope it gets produced. And the excerpt I'm going to play for you, it runs around 1:50, and it takes place in the courtroom. And this is the direct examination of Izzy Walker's girlfriend, Sarah Wall. And once I get this thing going, let's see if we've got it here. Yeah, we'll find it.
Miss Bell, you and Izzy were a couple at the time of the incident, correct?
Yes, we were.
How long had you two been dating?
About 2.5 years.
So it's safe to say you knew Miss Walker well?
More than well. I knew everything there is to know about her. Just about.
I assume you two spoke about the personal matters like your previous sex life?
Indeed.
Did Miss Walker ever mention having sexual relations with another man?
No, she would never.
So she was a virgin before Mr. Griffin abused her?
Well, in terms of being with a guy, yes.
And what about you? Have you and Miss Walker had sexual relations before?
Yes.
What about before the incident took place, before March 14th?
Yes, way before then.
And in your last sexual encounter before the incident, to your best recollection, can you please tell the court if Miss Walker's hymen was still intact?
Yes. Yes, it was.
And in your next sexual encounter after the incident, what about that?
It was not.
And had Miss Walker ever shown any interest in men? Or indicated in any way that you might want to experiment?
No, never. She's as gay as they come. Even when Leonardo DiCaprio or somebody came on TV, she wouldn't even react.
Gloria faces the jury.
As gay as they come. No further questions, Your Honor.
That was Searching for Justice. Screen name of the person who wrote it is Frog. He's a remarkable screenwriter. Like I said, it deals with a very difficult subject on several levels, but considering today's climate, it's really important. And other things that are like really important is the awesome prankster who got the folks at CPAC to wave Russian flags with Trump's name on them when he was speaking. I mean, seriously, folks, you're Americans. You know what the American flag looks like. You should have known better. Seriously, you should have known better. But I just can't say enough about the brilliance of that particular prank. It's so worthy. It is so worthy of everything. the fellow that was distributing the flags also got thrown out of CPAC for insulting 45 to his face. Prince Spraytan, as I like to call him. And then we go on to, Bannon talking about the deconstruction of the government. And what he's actually talking about when you talk about deconstructing, when you deconstruct something, you take it apart and put it back together again in a different context. He's just talking about taking it apart and not putting it back and leaving it there. President Bannon is running things, not, So, I just managed to turn my dictate my microphone on my iPhone set. It's. For somebody who is, a reasonably successful individual, Bannon's sense of self-loathing is really, really amazing. According to the rogue tweeters out there from the White House, Bannon is, according to them, I'm not saying this, but according to gossip, and I can gossip because I'm not saying anything, and it's rather well known when you take a look at images of President Bannon that he's got that alcoholic's nose where all the little tiny veins in the nose are exploded, severe rosacea. But they're making claims that he's perpetually drunk. Would not be at all surprised, Yeah, and there has to. It seems to me that this is another individual who was never permitted to fail, that he always had somebody there to bail him out. And maybe it's just time we let these people fail. I mean, we can go and we can discuss, what a crappy, President Bush 43 was. But the difference between Bush 43 and 45 and, Prince Spraytan is that W was allowed to fail. His family did not bail him out as his businesses went into the sewer line, unlike Trump, whose father bailed him out repeatedly, including laundering money through one of his casinos to bail him out. And now how he's bailed out his son in South Carolina, although they are indeed on the hook for cleaning up the space, even though he said, it wasn't enough, we don't need you to do it, get somebody else to pay the bill. We need to stop cleaning up after this man, and it's now incumbent upon the GOP, who are in control of the Congress. These are the people that make legislation. They should not be sitting still while executive order after executive order after executive order are being written and taking in, and basically saying Congress doesn't matter. This is a man that does not understand the three branches of government as spelled out in the Constitution of the United States. There is the congressional branch, which, they do the legislation. There is the executive branch, which signs the legislation and asks somebody to introduce legislation, signs the treaties and shit like that. Then there is the judicial branch, which, in Florida they want to they want to get rid of the judicial branch of the government because they don't like the Supreme Court rulings. They want the Congress to be able to overrule, say, no, you don't know what the Constitution says, we do. When the Supreme Court's entire reason for being is to explain the Constitution. They're sort of like the Talmudists, those that comment on law. This is who they are. They explain the law. They spell it out. They say this is correct, this is not correct. And there are people in Florida that say, no, we want Congress to say this so we can say we're Christian and fuck you. And this brings me to my next little rant about Christians that I have, evangelicals that I have met who say that Jesus came and fulfilled the law. Well, I guess that's why they have no problems withholding wages, which is a violation of Levitical law or taking every last thing somebody has to humiliate them. Do you know that in under the Levitical law, you are not permitted to take every last possession somebody has if they owe you a debt? You are completely forbidden to take from taking the shirt off a man's back. And it's just amazing that these individuals can't see that. I am going to be moving my stuff now, so listen to me as I get up and over. This is going to be an interesting situation here while I move to a table I can actually sit at and speak. Fortunately for me, this particular microphone has like a really super core cable, so I can hang on to stuff and move it over here. Hold on a sec. I'm going to go silent for a moment, so I'm going to play something else to you while I move my stuff. We're going to go for that one. This is Fareed Zakaria calling Donald Trump a bullshit artist.
Needs to come back, clarify his remarks on such a sensitive and volatile issue. Well, there's a Bannon bill that every time it is demonstrated that Donald Trump is plainly ignorant about some basic public policy issue, some well-known fact, he comes back with a certain bravado and tries to explain it away with a tweet or a statement. He did it on Brexit. He did it on the nuclear trial. He did it really on how U.S. debt markets work. We talked that Tim Kaine was the governor of New Jersey, and now with this. And it's sort of amusing to watch how is he going to pull it off this time. What is he going to argue? Usually he adds that the press hates him. But there's a term for this kind of thing. This is the mode of a bullshit artist. And, it's sometimes amusing, it's entertaining if the guy is trying to sell you a condo or a car. But for a president of the United States, it's deeply worrying. Is there...
And I love that. I love that particular clip of Fareed Zakaria. I think we need to hear that often, many, many times, often and often enough, and remember it, because Trump isn't a businessman. He's a con artist. He's really good at selling himself and making money off of himself. And it's sort of like, amazing that people only seem to be bothered by other celebrities and people making money off of their name. Remember when people were complaining about President Obama taking so many vacations? Donald Trump has just spent more money in 35 days taking vacations than President Obama did in his entire 8 years in office. 1 year not, So it's, amazing when we're sitting there. I was talking about President Bannon, and he talks a lot about. Sorry about that. I want to go back to table reads. Table reading, for those of you who don't know, it's where actors sit around a table, obviously, and read through a script. This is done as a first reading for a first rehearsal when you're going into production for a play or a movie, or you just got your script for your TV show. It's also used in the development of a screenplay or a play or a television show, where it's actors sit around, they read the script, and then they give feedback to the writer or writers as to where they see things that can be improved, things that didn't make sense, things that are repetitious, things that are not character driven. Like in the screenplay I read last night, one of the things that confused the daylights out of me was the fact that the character I was reading, Gloria, went from being a legal aid attorney for this woman to being a prosecuting attorney for the rape case, and it made no sense. There was nothing to explain how that occurred, where this, it just happened, and it was like rather confusing. And it turned out that the screenwriter removed in editing the film, removed the scene where that was explained, how she moved up on the food chain as far as her lawyering went. You also get to find out when you're reading a script how a character will resonate in the real world. And of course, when you're reading, the lawyer of the bad guy, villain of the piece, or whatever you want to say, you always tend to come off with him sounding, like smarmy. Instead of just like a lawyer trying to protect a client's interest, he comes off as being like as slimeball, and that got brought up. It's so there's a lot of feedback that goes into these things, and and when you really take a look at the finished product, if you're really paying attention, that feedback will be there, but it'll be so seamless you won't notice it. But understand that when you're seeing a finished product, I mean, if you're seeing something as brilliant as, Get Out, you know that Jordan Peele went through rewrite after rewrite and reading after reading, so he could hear the dialogue and hear how it resonated and how natural it sounded, and just tweaked and cajoled and just really made every word count, because that's also what you need to do when you write. Every word needs to be specific. It's the difference between a great play, a great book, and a piece of trash. And so it's all. It's all how when you listen to that, when you watch your favorite movies, it's just how that works. It's just that refinement into what may or may not be considered perfection, or the way you want to do it. And that's why I love doing these table reads. Also keeps me set, keeps my chops up, my cold reading chops up, because I do cold read. Get my script like that day, and then spend all my time highlighting my lines. All of them. You play multiple characters. Sometimes you want to do different voices, and sometimes you don't. It just depends on how you feel. Sometimes you get characters that are in the same scene, which is awesome, which happened to me yesterday as well. You're listening to At the Table here on Netroots Radio, and I am your host, Kelly Lincoln, and you're listening to us here live on Spreaker.com/Netroots Radio. Team Netroots, yes! And this will be rebroadcast later today, 3 p.m. Pacific Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on netrootsradio.com. So tune in then and listen to this all over again. You want to. And so while I'm doing this, I want to give a shout-out to the folks that let me do this live and on MP3. Our general manager, Wink, up in upstate New York, our program director, Justice, out there in the beautiful Rogue River Valley of Oregon, our brilliant guys on the CERT with keeping us up online, and they're truly an international group. Then we've got Yuri and Ricolio for the Coffee Cast. They're from Canada. So we are truly an international force to be reckoned with, and we are in our 6th year of operation, folks. We've been here for 6 years, and we've been doing this without any commercial support. So I'm going to ask you folks to hie thee over to patreon.com/netrootsradio and become a patron. You can also, look for my show and become a patron. Subscribe, $1 a month. It'll help out, really. It will. Lots and lots. It will help pay our server costs and our, so we're here. We're not making any money on this because that's how we roll. Rolling. I was, I did a Bannon tarot read, and it was interesting. Yes, I read tarot. I've been reading tarot since, since before it became a big thing, like in the 1970s. Thanks to Dark Shadows. Yep, Dark Shadows got me involved in it. And so yesterday, I decided to do a reading about Bannon. just for shits and grins, and I use a 15 card spread that's called the Golden Dawn spread, and I use this really gorgeous contemporary deck called the Rorik Tarot. It's now out of print, but I happen to have found one in Spanish that where but I haven't found one it's a Spanish title deck. So it, at least for Reyes de las Espadas, but for a lot less than $1,200, and I so wish I still had my original deck because I could have made some money on it. It's a beautiful, beautiful, exquisite deck. So anyway, I laid out the cards, and I don't go by reversals or blockages. I go by what's the native. And as I said, this is about Bannon, Steve Bannon. And the first card I laid down is Cruelty, the Nine of Swords. And that, there's a lot of different interpretations for the cards, and they for the most part, will talk about psychological states. The core cards represents aspects of yourself. Somebody may know, good, bad, ugly, indifferent. I don't go with that. You will meet a total Dr. Kempson stranger thing. I don't go into that sort of thing. When I do a reading, I always tell the person, you already know the answer. You just need to hear it from somebody else. And sometimes it's the answer they're looking for, and sometimes it's like something totally different. But as I said, the first three cards I laid out were the Nine of Swords, Completion, and Wealth, which is the Ten of Dice, which is the Nine of Swords, the Four of Wands, and the Ten of Discs. And two of the cards talk about stability. But you've got an individual who's not stable at all. Lies, and it just goes on from there when you get most of your cards are like in their blocked position, which is also called reversed. It's very interesting, but in my head, the first three cards, so I'll actually tell you the whole story about the person. The other three cards, the rest of it is just explication of what can happen. What will happen. Ways things can go if you don't make adjustments. And there's always two things here. And I just find it psychological states to be interesting. So it's so when I'm looking at the way things are going to go, and I'm seeing justice and the Ten of Cups. I think it's Ten of Cups. And the Ten of Cups, and the Six of Swords, which is justice, satisfaction, and science, and they're all in their block aspects. You have to take a think about that. What is happening here? Science is just more than thinking about what chemistry and biology and botany. Science is also learning and being satisfied. And in this block reversed position, you've got somebody that's not at all. I'm going to have to go to my books to get this thing going because I'm being tongue-tied here. Because it's like trying to work with where are I? Yeah, this is some of the fun things with la 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 da 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 da. I'm looking for books. There we are, iBooks. Going into my favorite tarot thing here. And it's called Tarot for we're going to call it Tarot for Yourself. Well, I'm going to go into reversals, and that's going to go right there. And I'm going to hide that, but I don't need to see that. I'm going to hide that. And figures, there we go. So, you've got a bunch of blocked energies like you have here with, you just have to go and say, I'm going to close that. Let me go back here. I am like blithering onto myself. I go all the way to the back here. Here. Okay. When you're dealing with when you're in your in its blocked aspect, it's like you're saying, this isn't fair. It's not fair. I'm not satisfied. This isn't fair. Things aren't happening. I mean, it's all about imbalance. It's not fair. It's how dare you say this to me? We're going to, topple, And you've got again, you've got your reversed cards, and they're going on, and they're saying, let me just go back to where I was here. Open it up. Oh my, let's say da 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 do da do da. Again, and these cards all speak to fairness, satisfaction. You're not satisfied. You can't be. When you're satiated, you're content. You have a feeling of well-being. But if you're not, you're just discontented all the time. You're not where you want to be in life. When you're going to the Ten of Cups, you're not. And it's still about this unfairness, this imbalance, this disintegration. Things aren't going the way you feel. You feel. Things are just like falling. You don't feel satisfied inside, and then you go. You're talking about. How you feel about. And then you've got the Six of Swords. Now, Six Swords indicate mental capabilities in the tarot. Communications and and when you're stuck and you think the world is against you and nothing is fair and you're just not tight with nothing is making you feel satisfied, you cling to what you know. You cling, and if you've grown up with fear, you cling to that fear. You cling to, and it's not going to go well, I feel, for Bannon, because it's going to become more and more closed off, and he's going to go into this bunker mentality that we're seeing here. It isn't, and I'm saying this because the following three cards are the Seven of Swords, which in this particular deck is represented by a man standing in front of a huge serpent's mouth with its teeth baring, and it's scary monster time, and you're and you've got the Wheel of Fortune also in its blocked state, and you're going on and you're thinking, and things are going against you. It's not happening for you, and the other things that occur is that when you're dealing with the scary monsters and you're looking for a way out, you're looking for somebody else to deal with them for you, and so you do what you can, and fortune favors the smart, and Bannon has a certain amount of savvy, but he's not smart. He doesn't have any plans as to what he wants to do. And for that, once he has Prince Spraytan tear it all down, he doesn't know what he wants with it. So he's throwing not just the government into the executive branch into chaos.
he's throwing the world into chaos because he doesn't know what to do after it. That's what you have to understand, is that you can't tear anything down without knowing how you're going to rebuild it, and that you can see that happening in Congress, where for 8 years the Republicans in the Congress wanted to get rid of repeal and replace. Well, now they've got the opportunity, and suddenly they've discovered they spent 8 years just talking about it and not planning for the reality of actually having to do it, and they're finding that it's just really difficult to do. I will say, it's the the uncertainty of facing down your monsters and pushing through them, that it's going, and it's, it's like, there's mistakes are going to be made, and they are being made, and they're carelessness, and they're not thought out, and the big scary monster for President Bannon is people that don't look like him. He's got a huge bug up his ass. In fact, he was wanting a it's just, he just doesn't like anybody that isn't him. And that becomes evident. He actually felt there were too many Asian people in Silicon Valley. So you got to understand, it's just not, it's anybody who's not European that he has an issue with, and I'm sure he could find a few European peoples that he doesn't like either. And when you're dealing with this sort of thing, it's easy to overcome because, the in this third triad of things of the other possible way of going is having the mask ripped off, and the Queen of Swords is that. In the Crowley deck, she is Judith, who decapitated the Assyrian general Holofernes, and very, very strong women. So his undoing is going to be at the hands of strong women, in my opinion, because he just can't help himself. It's going to be women taking him down administratively. He's going to find himself, in my opinion, out, because he just doesn't know. Like everybody else, where they don't know what they're doing. I think the reasonable individuals that are in the cabinet are there to help distract us from from the chaos that is being fomented by President Bannon. And yeah, President Bannon, because he's pulling the strings. Oh, speaking of pulling strings, I didn't get it. Oh, I've got it here. This is totally fucking awesome. Alex Jones did a Reddit AMA, and it was just, it's here somewhere. Where am I? Where am I here? Do I have it here? I hope you're not hearing Jim Chimney, Dick Van Dyke in a very bad Cockney accent here. Here it is. I actually printed as a PDF 54 pages of the Alex Jones AMA on the Donald Reddit Twitter. And he's been fighting the globalists for over 20 years. He's one of those people. You got to remember, for him, globalist means Jews. And he's a maggot. And, of course, they were going into hacked DeRay McCutcheon's bullshit tweets. Oh, yeah, this was 8 months ago, I guess. What was it? So the Alex Jones, this was like 8 months ago. Sorry to say. But you need to go check it out. Just check for Alex Jones AMA. It was like front page bullshit. You need to check it out. It is batshit insane. It says so much. And it will give you so much insight. See, what I love about these folks is what they don't quite understand is that not only is Donald Trump one of them, he's also one of us. He is an elite. He's Illuminati. He's New World Order. And they haven't figured that out yet. Frankly, neither has Alex Jones. Another fun piece of thing I found, and this is up on Scribd, it's called Codex Magica, and it is just batshit crazy conspiracy theory. Oh, of course, you don't have to take my word for it, but, it's all about us Jews. He even translates the word goyim. They translate in that book as cattle. Actually, it just means nations. The song about beating, there is Isaiah, and they shall beat their sword, nation shall not lift nation. The nation shall not lift up sword against nation. But, they have to have their own way of reading things and doing things and just getting up on us. And it is just spooktacular. And if you're into, you really, really, head-exploding weirdness, craziness, do not have, when you go into these Reddits or into these groups, remember to not be on anything because it'll really be a buzzkill for you. You're better off reading these things when you're not under the influence of anything so you can't get imprinted at your peak moment. I love it. Don't you just love that phrase? I just love it. Let me see what I can get here for you. I'm just like here watching you watch him, and all that other good stuff. And the Oscars are tomorrow. The Academy Awards are tomorrow night. And I got to remind you folks that it's an industry award. So the criteria are different. The directors vote for their favorites. Actors vote for their favorite for their favorite actors. And that's how it breaks down. So it's the industry giving, it's an industry award show. It's a trade show. The same thing with the Grammys. And, the Emmys, the daytime Emmys. It's all industry awards. So it's the industry voting on the industry. And I think it's going to be an amazing show tomorrow. Everybody's saying La La Land's going to get it. I think La La Land is going to get a couple of awards. But holy crap, I think they've got a real fight here over who's going to get it. Dev Patel is the first actor of Indian descent since Merle Oberon to be nominated for an Academy Award. And she was nominated in the 30s, I believe, for Best Actress. She won. And sadly, she had to hide her Indian British heritage because if you weren't white, you didn't get these awesome leading roles like Rita Hayworth, Rita Casino. She had to have her name changed. She had to change her name so she could work. Though you have, on the other hand, actors who were able to actors across the board had to change their names if they were too ethnic sounding, too Jewish sounding. In fact, Dustin Hoffman was one of the first Jewish actors to not change his name. They also didn't consider him leading man material, but look at him, But I think it's going to be very, very close races for the acting awards between Dev Patel, Denzel Washington, and Fences. Oh my God, it's so many brilliant movies. Lion is. If you haven't seen these movies, go see them. You have. They're great storytelling. And if you love storytelling, you don't have to worry about the ethnicity of the actors in that, because it's the story. There's a lot of, nonsense going on about, the cake's a white guy to like leap blah blah the wall, it's a fantasy film. Deal with it. I think the next time they do a movie that requires an ancient one, they should put them on, take them into Europe. Then they can't get upset over a white person being the ancient one or a not, even though, I think what surprises most people when they take a look at historical dramas from the BBC that not everybody is white in Her Majesty's court. And they weren't all white. It's just how you explain these things. We have this certain, as Americans, vision of ourselves. I have to say I'm a little disappointed in the folks that, couldn't get it together to, who actually thought Leave It to Beaver was Real World. And And there were a lot of people growing up in the Donna Reed age and the Father Knows Best age and the Leave It to Beaver age who looked at that and said, this is not real life, but you have to understand that a lot of times real life is not what you're looking for when you're watching television or go to the theater or go to a movie. You want bigger themes, and the television of the 50s and 60s was exactly that. They were our fairy stories. And it potentially says quite when you can't have fairy tales. And it makes your life much harder if you look at those and say, this is not how my family is. Well, growing up in California, as a Jewish girl in California, I didn't recognize any of the Jews I saw on TV because I didn't know anybody like that. I'm not from New York. And people have this mistaken concept that every Jew in New York, every Jew in America is a New York Jew, is from New York. It ain't like that. And it makes your life difficult. And when you're a Sephardic Jew, it makes it even worse, because when you move to New York, they don't understand that it's not just all about Sephardim, not just all about them. They don't understand the concept of Jews that aren't white like them. I mean, and even though you're trying to get there, God damn it, I'm actually also trying to drag and drop some stuff into a folder right now, and it's not happening here. The images are actually hating on me right now, and I just think that's really, really kind of funny. It's and I'm ranting and raving and all of that good stuff, but I love it. It's good, and it's now like 4:46. And I'm like really fucking late for going back for lunch. Maybe, I don't know. But there we go. You have to. Well, it's now 4:45, and I need in the PM here on the East Coast. So I'm just going to say good day to y'all and say my goodbyes, because I don't have much anything else to do. And I really do have to get back to work. So I'm going to say goodnight to you all. Tune in later this evening on netrootsradio.com at 6 p.m. Pacific Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific for a replay of this. And it'll be just as much fun as it was now. And I'm going to play Yap Yap. Yeah, support your local persistence league. We need to stand up, Americans. Doesn't matter Republican or Democrat. You got to stand up to the very, very dangerous situation that is happening within the federal government right now. Write your Congress critters, your senators, your legislatures, your state legislatures. People in your states as well need to stand up to what's going on. And remember, we're Americans before we are Democrats or Republicans or Southerners or Northerners or West Coasters or East Coasters or breadbasket. We are Americans, and we need to remember that. So take care, everybody, and I'll be talking to you later.
At the table.
This is Kelly Lincoln,
Now
up and out.
tuned
Woo!
To Katie Speaks with Katie Klaubish here on netrootsradio.com.
Yeah.